Hello, and thank you to everyone, both online and in person today, for joining us. I'm Malia Douglas, a group product manager with the Microsoft 365 platform team, and I'd like to welcome you to Beyond 300 Million Users, how to bring your Teams app to Outlook and the Microsoft 365 app. Okay, who here uses Outlook or Teams every day to communicate and collaborate with your teammates? And how many of you have the experience of needing to jump between multiple different apps to get seemingly simple tasks done? In today's session, we will show you how you can streamline productivity for hundreds of millions of people around the world. By integrating your apps into more of Microsoft 365, you can help people streamline, stay in flow, reduce context switching, and achieve more. And if you attended Rajesh's keynote, you know that this is all possible with one developer journey. By building with Teams Toolkit, you can create apps that both reach the hundreds of millions of Teams and Outlook users today and be at the forefront of the plugin story for extending the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Throughout this session, you'll see real code from the Northwind Trader sample app that we built for this event, available now on GitHub. To step you through what's new and how to build it, I'd like to introduce our three main speakers. First, Saurabh will show you a step-by-step walkthrough of how to extend your existing Microsoft 365 integrations or start something new. He'll highlight improvements to the unified developer journey, enabling you to easily build for the hundreds of millions of users across Teams and Outlook. Next, Mine will take you on a whirlwind tour of new developer preview capabilities that enable you to make your integrations more contextual, more portable, and more actionable. Finally, Kate will highlight what we are doing to help you achieve broader enterprise adoption by simplifying management and increasing end-user awareness. She'll also walk you through how our certification program accelerates your app's IT readiness. Let's get started. Over to you, Saurabh.
Thank you, Malia. Hey, everyone. I'm Saurabh Bhatia, product manager on the Microsoft 365 platform team. We truly believe there's an incredible opportunity in building scenarios that can reach users across all the way they communicate, whether it's via chat in Teams or email in Outlook. So as Malia alluded to, let's kick things off by looking at the sample app that we've built, which is available on GitHub, and I'll let you know in a minute on how you can go get it. First, let's look at what it can do. So for this, we are imagining, who's familiar with Northwind, by the way? It's a familiar name, right? Yes, OK, good. So I'm going to play the role of a sales manager at Northwind. And let's see if I built this app in Teams and in Outlook, how my life would be easier. We'll be looking at three different things. One is how you can just copy paste a URL. This animation is going to go a little bit quickly. How you can search for stuff from your suppliers list, which could be stored in your own database, and bring that into Outlook. And then lastly, how you can have a full page experience right within Outlook without ever having to leave, whether it's Outlook or Teams, and go to a website. So let's start off with scenario one, where I start in Teams, where I remember that I need to get an update from my coworker, Adele, and quickly copy-paste a URL into chat with her. When I do copy-paste the URL, it will automatically turn into a rich card, and I can hit send knowing that she will see the same rich card. Now, that was in Teams, but we are bringing that same experience to Outlook, where, say, I have to communicate with another colleague who prefers emails over chat, and I can send the same email message by copy-pasting a link to Megan, and she will get the exact same card that was available in Teams to you, but also available in Outlook now. Now let's imagine how we can further simplify this workflow. I still had to copy-paste that URL. I had to get that from somewhere. But what if I can just search for my suppliers right from within Outlook? I can do that now by launching what we call a search-based message extension. I just look for the Notman app. I search for the supplier name. And when I find the right supplier, I insert that card. And again, I get that same rich card experience without ever having to leave Outlook. Of course, let's not forget that not only can you have these integrated experiences in email and chat, but you can have a direct, immersive, full-screen experience where you can view all your Notman Trader suppliers right within Outlook. For example, I can launch a Notman app from the left navigation bar there. And what's cool about this is now that you're running in Outlook, you can actually send an email right from that app to the person you're trying to email, pre-filled with all the templatized details, their email, what do you want to talk about. You just have to write the email, right? So it's pulling in all that data, just integrating it right into Outlook. Let's not forget Teams, of course. We looked at Outlook. The exact same experience is available in Teams. And if you want to do something different in Teams, for example, you launch the app, find the right supplier. Instead of sending an email when you're in Teams, you might want to give them a call. So you get the ability to give them a call right from within Teams without having to leave the Teams app. So we saw a bunch of scenarios, but there were 3 key things. One was link unfurling, which is you paste the link, unfurl it. The other was searching for a supplier and inserting their details into an email or a chat. And lastly, it was launching this full-screen immersive app right within Outlook or Teams. Let's go look at how we can build this. And you can go try it out yourself at that URL, aka.ms, extend Teams app sample. And if we can get the projector to switch over, there you go. So this is available on GitHub right now. If you go to that link, the sources are all there. How do you get started building this app? The easiest way is using GitHub Codespaces. I already have one built up here, so I'm just going to launch that. And when I do, I get a full instance of VS Code right within the browser. Now, if you haven't done so already, the easiest way to build these apps is using the Teams Toolkit. And to get it, all you need to do is go to the Extensions tab for VS Code, search for Teams Toolkit, and go install it. Once you do install it, Teams Toolkit will appear on the left nav bar. And it lets you do a couple of interesting things. When you're developing for these apps, you don't want to mess with your production tenant, right? Like you might not have access to just sideload an app that you're debugging and testing. So you can go sign up for a developer tenant and then sign into that so that Teams Toolkit directly will sideload to your developer tenant and make it easy for you to test and debug. I've already done that, and I am signed in over here, which is I'm signed into a tenant which has sideloading enabled. So I'm good to go. All I have to do next is hit F5, which is debug. And then I get the options to debug in Teams or even debug in Outlook, right? It's that easy to get started. So let's now look at some of the code on how we can build those 3 instances that we've called. I'm going to switch over to VS Code here just so that Codespaces doesn't log me out. That tends to happen when we were practicing. So I have the exact same project. It's just now running locally on my machine in VS Code with Teams Toolkit. The first concept we need to look at is the manifest file, which is available under the app package, and it's manifest.json. And all it really is it's a JSON file which tells Microsoft 365 platform where all your app needs to extend itself and where all do you want to integrate with the different capabilities that are available. So pretty much everything that you see, there'll be a marker for it in the manifest JSON file. So let's look at the first 2 things, which was link unfurling and search-based message extensions. They are both available under the Compose Extensions section. I'll just zoom in there so folks can see it. You're defining everything about those 2 concepts in this JSON. And the 2 key things to remember here, one is there's a bot associated with the search-based message extension, and all it's doing is it's giving you some back-end web processing to receive the information, like whatever you're searching for, and based on that, return that rich card back to you. So we are using the familiar bot framework to make it all work on the back end. Next is there's some metadata there, which sort of talks about what this extension is going to do, and it searches and informs the end user about this is about Notwin, and you can search for a supplier. But the next key thing is this concept of message handlers, and this enables you to do the link unfurling bit, where all you're listening for is any URL that gets pasted into whether it's Teams or Outlook. If it has notwintraders.com in there, then it'll call your bot to process that data, and then you can send it back a rich card, which will then show up in email or chat. So those are two key concepts. Now, how many of you are already familiar with these, by the way? Any Teams app developers? Some of you. So if you've already done this in Teams, the workflow so far is exactly the same, right? So how do you make it work in Outlook? You just need to do two things. First, you need to upgrade the manifest to the latest version 1.13 or higher. I'm already on 1.14 here. And second is you need to add a channel for Microsoft 365 extensions to your bot framework. So I've done that there, and that happens at times if I have the machine running on, but there you go, I'm already signed in. So I have two channels here, Microsoft Teams and Microsoft 365 app. That marks it so that those search-based message extensions and link unfurling not only work in Teams, but also work in Outlook. So let's go to the last concept we saw, which was a personal tab that shows up when on the left rail, when you click on the Notwin and you get this dashboard of suppliers. We'll go back to the manifest. The personal tabs are defined as static tabs in the manifest. And you look at what they're pointing to, they're essentially pointing to an HTML file. And all that is it's a web app, right? So just like any website out there, it's just a web app. You're trying to pull that in and make it so that it now runs in Teams or in Outlook. What makes it a personal tab are two things. One, you're referring to it in this manifest. And two, it's using Teams JS client library. The Teams JS client library allows you to make JavaScript calls from your web app and utilize functions like making a call in Teams or sending an email in Outlook. Let's take a quick look at what that code looks like. So all the code for the personal tab is available under the tabs folder. And we'll take a look at how you can build a supplier dashboard by looking at the supplier JSX under the tabs folder. In there, the first call, let me scroll back up. I am already importing Teams JS here, which allows me to access all those Teams-based capabilities or Outlook-based capabilities. And then lastly, I'm just going to search for is supported, which effectively checks whether or not a functionality like call, which is provided through Teams JS, is supported in the host that you're running in. So if you're running in Teams, it'll return true for call, because calls work in Teams. But if you're running it in Outlook, then it'll return false, which means you shouldn't call any of the call-based functionality. Similarly, if you're running in Outlook, you can also check for the mail is supported functionality, because you can actually send emails from Outlook, right? So the same logic follows, and Teams JS has a multitude of these capabilities where you can just check whether or not it's supported and then make a call for all of these. Now, as I was saying earlier, if you are a Teams developer, all this should look familiar. How do you bring this to Outlook? For a personal tab, there are two things you need to remember. One is, once again, upgrade the manifest to 1.13 or higher. And the second is use Teams JS version 2 or higher. And in fact, Teams Toolkit makes it really easy for you to do both. It has these command options for upgrading your Teams JS SDK, including the code references. which means it's not only going to change the library reference, it's actually going to look at the function names you're calling and update them to the v2 functions, which is really great. Makes it easy for you to upgrade. And then finally, there's also an upgrade Teams manifest, which will go in and automatically upgrade the schema for your manifest to the latest version, so you don't have to go muck around in the JSON. So really easy ways in which you can take existing Teams app and upgrade them, or if you're creating new apps, you can just directly target both Teams and Outlook now. With that, let's switch back to some slides. So please make sure to go check out the sample app. Leave your comments on there. We will be actively developing on it. The three things that you saw are personal tabs, search-based extensions, and link unfurling. They are rolling out to Outlook as we speak. So they will be available to everyone across web, Windows, iOS, and Android. In fact, one of our partners, Ernst & Young, has already updated their app to run on Outlook. And let's hear from them about their experience.
I am the Senior Development Manager at EY-ATTG. I am glad and excited to present our experience and journey with Tax Catalyst development, partnering with Microsoft. EY Tax Catalyst is a transformative SaaS-based client-facing virtual content and data analytics distribution channel that operates through Microsoft Teams App Store. As the industry shifted to the new virtual and remote work, we wanted EY and client users to collaborate real time. Our choice was Microsoft Teams, as it offers several benefits, including user experience and adoption, agile process optimization, and increased efficiency. We wanted to expand the delivery approach of the EY Tax Catalyst app across the M365 platform to provide real-time collaboration and distribution of the virtual content and data analytics. By following 3 simple steps, we were able to extend our existing EY Tax Catalyst Teams app across the Microsoft 365 platform, including Outlook. Step 1, we updated the Teams developer manifest schema to version 1.13 or higher. Step 2, we upgraded the Teams JavaScript client library to 2.0 or higher. Step 3, we updated the Microsoft Azure Active Directory app registration to authorize Microsoft 365 applications. The journey embraced design-first mindset and reuse of the existing capabilities. This journey does not end here, as we look forward to continuing our partnership with Microsoft to enhance the Tax Catalyst app with additional and upcoming capabilities from Microsoft Teams and Outlook. Thank you, and have a great day.
With that, I'm going to hand it over to Minnie to talk about some more of these features. Over to you, Minnie. Thank you.
Thank you, Saurabh. You just heard that you can build Microsoft 365 integrations and reach hundreds of millions of users across Teams and Outlook. Isn't that amazing? I am Minnie Tokus from the Microsoft 365 platform team, and I'm going to talk about new developer preview capabilities coming soon to deeper integrate your scenarios across Microsoft 365. Let's start with the preview capabilities coming soon to deeper integrate your apps into Outlook. Let's start with meeting apps. Meeting apps are already available for Teams to configure your apps by attaching an app when you are scheduling the meeting invite. But we have heard that many of you are scheduling your meetings from Outlook. And that's why we are bringing meeting apps also to Outlook. Let's take a look. For meeting apps demo, I will get back to the Northwind Traders supervisor. I need to schedule a meeting with my team to talk about renewable energy project that is going to start in France. And I want to attach the Northwind app by selecting the suppliers only in France. When scheduling my meeting from Outlook, I could launch the Northwind app, configure it according to my needs, and send the invite. Now, once I switch to Teams, the meeting app is already pinned in the chat before the meeting starts, it is available for me. And when the meeting starts and participants join, I can see the app in the meeting tab as a pre-configured dashboard without having to manually edit again. We saw that meeting apps can be configured when you are scheduling a meeting from Outlook. Meeting apps for Teams are defined in the app manifest by setting the context property under configurable tabs. To bring your meeting apps to Outlook, all you need to do is update the manifest to version 1.13 and higher, and upgrade to Teams JavaScript library to version 2.0 and higher. That's it. Speaking about Outlook and extensibility, let's continue with Outlook add-ins. Did any of you build Outlook add-in so far? Okay, so we know that many of you have been building add-ins over the last decade, and we're excited to announce a new way to bundle and package your Outlook add-ins together with Teams apps in the unified manifest. Now let's hear from one of our partners, Office at Work, about how they benefited from the unified manifest.
Currently, we have a comprehensive list of apps on AppSource. However, maintaining all of those apps is a lot of work, and the ratings and feedback are spread across each app, weakening their impact. By consolidating multiple add-ins into one application, we can create stronger apps and help customers choose the right app more easily. This also means that developers will have fewer extensibility definitions to learn and maintain. Now, let's take a brief look at the Microsoft 365 Content Chooser manifest file, which contains the configuration for the add-in for Outlook, as well as the app for Microsoft 365 and Teams. The JSON manifest you are seeing is a standard Teams app manifest that has been enriched with a new property called extensions. Here we have added a mail extension that shows up in Outlook. This extension consists of a requirements, a runtimes, and a ribbons property. In the requirements property, we define the scope mail to declare that this extension is to be surfaced in Outlook. In the runtimes property, we define an action of type open page that will allow Outlook to open a task pane for the content chooser. Finally, in the ribbons property, in the context of composing an email, we define the button that, when pressed, triggers the action we defined earlier in the runtimes property. That's it. That is all it takes to define an extension that surfaces in Outlook.
As we just heard from Office at Work, you can bundle your existing Outlook add-ins with all the capabilities we are talking about today in a single unified app package by leveraging the existing Teams manifest for effective app management, distribution, and deployment. You can go try this out yourself because unified manifest with Outlook add-ins is already available. You just need to use the preview version of Teams manifest. And soon, meeting apps in Outlook for Windows will be in preview starting by June. Now, let's talk about how you can bring live and actionable data into email and chat by using adaptive card-based loop components and action message extensions. In this demo, we will take a look at how Adele, a product manager at Contoso, using Priority Matrix to manage tasks for her teams. Priority Matrix is an app built by one of our partners, already available in the store on Teams and Microsoft 365 app. Adele notices one of the critical tasks is missing a due date. She wants to share it with her team, Megan from her team, to set the date for the task. She copies the link from Priority Matrix and switches back to Outlook to share the link with email. When Adele pastes the link on Outlook Compose menu, it unfurls as an adaptive card-based loop component. And upon receiving the email, Megan can set the due date for the task right within her inbox by setting the date to next Friday and saves it. Without context switching to priority matrix, she can complete it from her inbox. And now, Megan can copy the link to the loop component and share it in Teams chat to follow up on the remaining task with her designer team. From now on, all the updates made on the loop component will be reflected into the card on Outlook, in Teams, and also on priority matrix. Because adaptive card-based loop components are actionable units of productivity that are carrying across Microsoft 365 experiences. As we saw in this demo, priority matrix is enabling its users to create a task right from their inbox by inserting a beautiful card by leveraging action-based message extensions. If you already built an action-based message extensions for Teams, you can bring it to Outlook with a few simple configuration changes. You need to update the manifest to version 1.13 and higher, and then add the Microsoft 365 channel in Microsoft Azure portal, and that's it. You are good to go. Action-based message extensions in Outlook will start private preview in June, and we're inviting you to sign up for the upcoming private preview to start building these great experiences early on. In the last demo, we have also seen that adaptive card-based loop components enabled portable pieces of content that stays in sync across Microsoft 365 experiences. To enable adaptive card-based loop components in your message extensions, you simply need to add metadata web URL property in your adaptive card payload. That's it. Adaptive card-based loop components in Teams and Outlook has been in private preview since last build, and we are very excited to share that they are coming to public developer preview next month by June. So just watch out for that. So far, we have looked at new developer preview capabilities coming to Teams and Outlook to deeper integrate your apps. Now, let's switch gears and talk about another core part of Microsoft 365, the Microsoft 365 app. So one more question for you. Did any of you have seen and used Microsoft 365 apps so far? Yes, many of you. And if you haven't used it before, this screen might be familiar to you because Microsoft 365 app is the rebrand for our very well-known Office.com. It's the new home for Microsoft 365 users' favorite tools and content, with new ways to find, create, and share content all in one place on web, desktop, and mobile platforms. A key part of Microsoft 365 app is extensibility because it lets you integrate directly into the homepage of Microsoft 365 users. Let's go back to Northwind Traders and start with personal tabs. Because, as Saurabh walked us through, Northwind Traders was built with Teams JavaScript library and manifest version 1.14. It can also be launched as a personal tab within the context of Microsoft 365 app, once it is installed from the store on Teams or from the Microsoft 365 app. Once installed, the app is available, the app icon is available on the left rail. Clicking on the app icon launches the personal tab built by Northwind within the context of Microsoft 365 app and allows you to integrate with suppliers and contact information from Northwind. And when you go back to the home page of Microsoft 365 app, I can see frequently used purchase agreements by Northwind as part of the quick access menu of Microsoft 365 app alongside with my other content. And in addition to that, Northwind Traders personal tab is also available on Microsoft 365 app on Android and iOS platforms. So what we have seen was the example of a personal tab app built for Teams is already rolling out to general availability for Outlook, as Saurabh shared. And as we have just seen, it's also generally available for Microsoft 365 app, Windows, web, and Android users. So you are building one app, and then you can run it across multiple platforms, multiple applications, and reach hundreds of millions of users to increase the ROI you get from your app. Speaking of integrating your content with Microsoft 365, we need to emphasize graph connectors. Microsoft Graph Connectors allow your organization to index content from various applications and make them discoverable across Microsoft 365. Let's go back to Teams for a moment and see how Graph Connectors enables discovering your content with Copilot integration. In this demo, we will take a look at how Graph Connector built by Adobe helped Lydia, a business account manager, working on handling agreements with her partners. Lydia is currently working on a deal with Fabricam, and she's asking Copilot to show her recent Fabricam agreements. Copilot returns a list of results with the documents Lydia has access to. Lydia is most interested on the Fabricam purchase agreement shared by Arvin because she is a signer on it. She clicks on the agreement, and that opens the file directly in Adobe Acrobat Sign. Now, Lydia can seamlessly view and complete signing the agreement. You have seen that Graph Connectors let you deeply integrate your app into Microsoft 365 and allow your users easily find and use your app. Let's continue with the same demo and now look at how your apps are also seamlessly discoverable in Microsoft 365 app with Graph Connectors integration. Now, Arvin opens the Microsoft 365 app, and he notices that the Fabricam purchase agreement is recently signed. He clicks on the signed item. That brings the email notifying him about Lydia's signing of the agreement and shows the preview of the signed agreement in the same screen. We just saw how seamless it is for the end users to interact with your app and data across Microsoft 365 experiences. To line up these experiences in Copilot and in Microsoft 365 app, you need to follow these 3 steps. First, create connection to your data objects. Second, register your schema. And third, keep ingesting your items according to the schema you registered. Each item is sent with properties that matches the schema you registered to power your content as discoverable on Microsoft 365 app. Graph Connectors in Microsoft 365 app will be generally available by June. And Graph Connectors in Copilot is coming to private preview very soon. We are inviting you to sign up for the upcoming private preview for Graph Connectors and Copilot integration by following the link on the screen to start building early on again. My last preview announcement today is about content actions in Microsoft 365 app. Content actions are new, lightweight, and easy to use developer building blocks to improve productivity for your users by minimizing context switching. They also enable great ways to uplift your app's visibility and increase user engagement. For the last demo, I will go back to Northwind Traders Supervisor again. As a busy sales supervisor, I open my Microsoft 365 app to do some focused work. And I notice a latest sales report for one of my suppliers, Tokyo Trader, showed up. And I want to attach it to the Northwind Trader supplier management system. Right-clicking on the document enables me to choose Add to Supplier action, and that brings up the dialog provided by Northwind app. And then I choose my Tokyo Trader supplier and click Add to. That's it. With just a few clicks, I could attach a new document to my supplier management system and associated it with the right supplier without switching to a new app and without opening the document. As a developer, to make an action show up in the context menu on Microsoft 365 app, you need to add it as a JSON payload in the manifest. To define add to supplier action, you need to set the content type as Word doc, set the intent as add to, and define a handler for opening dialog, for open dialog. When you're in the JavaScript file, in the dialog JavaScript file, you can use Teams JavaScript get context API to get the actions info, which includes the item ID. And then you can use the item ID to get the actual object by using graph APIs. Similarly, you can define handler to launch a personal tab to implement your action. Content actions on Microsoft 365 app will be starting private preview next month. And we are inviting you to sign up for the upcoming private preview to get early access on building content actions. We saw a ton of new capabilities just arrived, and a bunch of new capabilities are coming to private preview soon. The one main key takeaway is that all these capabilities can be bundled in a single unified app manifest. This will make it a lot easier for developers and administrators to manage and deploy these apps. Next, Kate will talk about how you can get your unified app package into your customers' hands. Over to you, Kate.
Thank you, Mine. It's exciting to hear about some of the upcoming features, and I recommend that everybody go check out those previews. I'm Kate Everitt. I'm a Principal Product Manager from Outlook. You've worked hard to build your apps, but the story doesn't end there. I'm going to share with you what Microsoft is doing to help get your apps used by customers. As part of this platform, you have access to hundreds of millions of users, right where they do their core work. But as a developer, I want you to know about the two main ways that those apps get to customers: through admin deployment and then end-user discovery and adoption. In the past, Outlook has mostly been driven by admin deployment and Teams app usage through end-user installs. Now that we're bringing this platform together, we're going to leverage both to get more usage for your apps. Picture this. Your customers are using Teams. They've got chat, they've got calls, and then there's your app. Or they're sending an email in Outlook. They've got bold, they've got the ability to insert a picture, and there's your app. We've put in entry points across the suite for your app to be right there in front of users' core jobs. And for end users, we've rationalized this experience so that once they learn how to use your app in one client, they've learned how to use it in every client. And once they install it in one client, it's available across multiple clients. Frequently used apps can be pinned, making them easier to launch quickly. We've put the store for discovering new apps right in the clients. The customer doesn't have to stop and go to a different web page to go find your app to solve their problem. And it's the same store in the Microsoft 365 app, in Teams, and in Outlook. So end users can find and acquire your ISV or LOB app in a consistent manner. The store has features you'd expect, like search, categories, and filters, and rich metadata information, like features, permissions, privacy, terms of use, Microsoft 365 certified, which I'll tell you more about in a moment, to help those users make informed decisions about which application they want to acquire. Users can also get new apps in the flow of work when they click on app-based content and links sent to them in chats and emails. As a developer, you want your app to get to those customers with the least amount of friction. Through our new unified admin experience, the admin can install your app to lots of users across the whole organization. Our goal is that one admin should be able to deploy apps across the Microsoft 365 app, Outlook, and Teams from the Integrated Apps page in the Microsoft Admin Center. Getting to one unified management tool is a journey, and we're not quite there yet, but that's where we're headed. Until then, admins can manage these extended Teams apps from the Microsoft 365 Admin Center for the Microsoft 365 app and Outlook, and the Teams Admin Center for Teams. Using integrated apps as a global admin or Azure application admin, the admin can manage these apps by deploying, that means installing on behalf of users, these apps to specific users, a group, or the entire tenant, and accept app permission on behalf of those users. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So we pick up the app, choose who's going to get it, accept permissions, which really reduces one of those speed bumps that would prevent users from getting your app. And that's it. Without any additional steps, these users have your app. As a developer, your best case scenario is to have these apps installed for customers by the admin. And the next best case scenario is to have them available in the store. And you don't want your app to be blocked. Admins have a lot of control over which apps are deployed directly to users and which ones show up in the stores. And those admins, they're looking for apps to be trustworthy and in line with their organization's policies. But it's easier than you think to take the right steps and stand out as a trustworthy app. And we will walk you through it. If you have an ISV app submitted to Partner Center, you have the option of choosing to make it Microsoft 365 certified. This certification program has several advantages for convincing IT to install your app. Most importantly, IT admins get comfort knowing that Microsoft has assessed the security, data handling, and operational aspects of your application. And your app's going to stand out in storefronts and in admin portals with the Microsoft 365 badging. Certified apps are included in our highlighted sections, like the Team Store Top Picks algorithm. We've seen a 75% increase in monthly active usage for certified Teams apps. We want you to build a great app, and we want that app to get used by hundreds of millions of users. Hopefully, you've seen the work that we're doing to make things easier for end users, admins, and for you to build trust and drive adoption. All right, to close, let's get Malia back up here to share with you some key takeaways.
Thank you, Kate. OK, we've covered a lot of ground together today. So I wanted to just get back up here and recap the top 3 takeaways. First, you can now build one app to reach the hundreds of millions of users across Teams, Outlook, and Microsoft 365. Saurabh showed us how to use code spaces and Teams Toolkit to quickly and easily bootstrap a project to build the Northwind Traders sample app, which showcased personal tabs, search-based message extensions, and link unfurling, all of which are rolling out to Outlook right now. And as Rajesh called out in his keynote, building message extensions is building plugins. You will be at the forefront of Microsoft 365 Copilot extensibility. Second, with lightweight changes that you can make to your existing apps, you can reach users in new and more streamlined ways. Mine walked us through how to add your Teams app to Outlook, how to use graph connectors and actions to integrate your content directly into the Microsoft 365 app, and how to add portability, live updates, and increased actionability with adaptive card-based loop components. Building a graph connector brings your content into the Microsoft Graph, which powers another way to extend the Microsoft 365 Copilot. Mine also highlighted how we've made it easier to package your app as a single unit across both Teams apps and Outlook add-ins. This enables greater ease of deployment and management, which brings us to our third key takeaway. We are invested in your app's success. Kate highlighted just a few of the ways that we're working to increase your enterprise adoption through the certification process, simplifying management, and surfacing your app through a range of unified discovery and acquisition experiences. None of this would be possible without the early support and adoption of our partners. Thank you to everyone who participated, from early private previews through to shipping generally available apps that you can find in Teams, Outlook, and the Microsoft 365 App Store. Your feedback has made the platform stronger. Finally, thank you to everyone who joined us, both online and in person today. Here's how you can get started with extending your Teams apps across more of Microsoft 365. Go check out our developer documentation for scenario and API details. Check out our sample app for reference implementation. And register for the Teams Global Hack events that are starting in June. We can't wait to see what you build. If you have any questions, please send them via the Pubble app or find us later at the Collaborative Apps Expert Meetup area. Thank you so much and have a wonderful rest of Build.